Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something that's really changing the game for businesses and their IT cloud networking. Think of this as your quick way to get, well informed on how moving away from all that physical hardware can bring some pretty big pluses. We've looked through quite a bit of info to pull out the key takeaways for you. And hey, if you find this useful, do subscribe. That way you won't miss our future deep dives into important topics. So let's kick things off. Can you give us the big picture? What is cloud networking really? It sounds a bit abstract.
Yeah, that's a fair question. Uh, Essentially, cloud networking is all about how you design, build, and manage your company's network connections,
Mhm.
but doing it all within cloud environments. So instead of physical boxes, routers, switches, firewalls sitting in your server room,
Right.
you're using virtual versions offered by cloud providers. The key concept here is virtualization. It gives you incredible flexibility. You can scale your network up or down without buying new kit.
Ah, okay. So no waiting for hardware deliveries?
Exactly. And you can set up network resources almost anywhere in the world pretty easily. Now, cloud networking covers a few core things. You've got virtual private clouds, VPCs.
VPCs, right?
Think of them as your own private, isolated slice of the public cloud. Secure, segmented. You control the addresses, the routes, the security rules, just like you would on-premise.
Okay.
Then there's SDN, software-defined networking. This basically separates the network's control logic, the brain,
Okay.
from the hardware that actually forwards the traffic. This makes the whole network programmable, much easier to manage centrally.
Programmable. Interesting.
Yeah, and things like NAT gateways, they act like secure translators.
Yeah.
They let your private instances inside the VPC talk to the internet without exposing their private addresses. We also use load balancing extensively. That spreads incoming traffic across multiple servers.
For uptime.
For uptime, exactly, and performance. Keeps things running smoothly, even under heavy load. And for connecting back securely to your office, or maybe between different clouds, you use VPNs, virtual private networks, encrypted tunnels.
Standard stuff there.
Pretty standard, yeah. But then for the really high-performance needs, like, say, financial trading where milliseconds matter,
Yeah.
you have options like Direct Connect. That's a dedicated, private physical connection straight into the cloud provider's network. High bandwidth, super low latency.
Okay, got it. So it's
Yeah.
definitely more than just moving wires online. What are the actual wins? Why would a business go through this shift? What are the aha moments?
Right, the benefits are quite compelling.
Hmm.
Number one is probably that scalability and flexibility we mentioned. Think about like an online retailer hitting the holiday rush.
Yeah. Massive traffic spike.
With cloud networking, they can instantly provision more network capacity, handle the surge, and then just dial it back down in January. They're not buying servers that sit idle for 10 months.
That makes a lot of sense financially.
Absolutely. Which leads to the next point. Cost efficiency. You generally shift from big upfront capital expenses buying hardware to operational expenses, often a pay-as-you-go model.
CapEx to OpEx, the classic cloud benefit.
Exactly. It frees up capital, and it makes businesses more agile. You can deploy new applications, new services, much faster. React to the market quicker.
So speed to market increases.
Definitely. Security is another big one, though sometimes people worry about it.
Yeah.
But cloud providers invest huge amounts in security. Physical security of data centers, advanced threat detection, constant audits, stuff that's often beyond what individual companies can manage. Plus, they offer built-in tools like firewalls and encryption.
Okay, so it can actually be more secure if done right.
If done right, yes. And finally, there's global reach. These providers have data centers everywhere. So if you need to serve customers in Europe or Asia, you can place your applications and data closer to them. Lower latency, better user experience. It also really helps with global teams, offshore development, outsourcing.
The global aspect is interesting, especially now. And speaking of how people work now, remote work is just everywhere. How does cloud networking specifically help with that, making it smooth and secure?
Oh, it's fundamental for remote work. Cloud networking is really what enables it effectively at scale. A great example is something like AWS Workspaces.
Okay, AWS Workspaces. What's that?
Think of it as a cloud-based virtual desktop. It essentially gives each remote employee their own secure Windows or Linux desktop hosted in the AWS cloud. They can access it from almost any device, laptop, tablet, even a basic thin client, as long as they have internet.
So their work computer is in the cloud.
Precisely. And the benefits line up nicely. It's cost-effective, pay-as-you-go pricing, you only pay for what you use. Security is built in, leveraging all the AWS security infrastructure we just talked about. Data isn't stored on the local device, which is a big plus if a laptop gets lost or stolen.
Right, that's a key security point.
And the flexibility is huge. Access from anywhere. This is crucial for maintaining productivity and ensuring secure network access for distributed teams. And actually, speaking of streamlining remote work and making sure users have the right tools, at Webline India, we actually help businesses integrate these kinds of cloud-based network solutions, including things like AWS workspaces. We specialize in custom software development, building mobile and web applications, working with AI and machine learning. And we also have strong expertise in offshore development to help companies scale effectively.
Okay.
You can find us at WeblineIndia.com or drop us an email at info@WeblineIndia.com. We're also active on social media if you want to follow us for updates. But yeah, the main point is solutions like workspaces built on cloud networking are really vital for making modern remote work, well, work.
Okay, that makes sense. But are there downsides? Any potential pitfalls or things businesses need to be really careful about before jumping in? What are the key considerations?
Absolutely. It's not without its challenges. You need careful planning. Security, while a benefit, is also a major consideration. While the provider secures the cloud, you're responsible for security in the cloud. So, configuring things properly, firewalls, access controls, intrusion detection, encrypting data that's still on you, data breaches, DDoS attacks are real threats.
For shared responsibility.
Exactly. Shared responsibility model. Performance is another one. You need to think about network latency, the delay. If your applications are sensitive to lag, you need smart network design, maybe content delivery networks, good routing choices. Bandwidth can also be a factor.
Right, connecting to the cloud needs good types.
It does. Then there's integration. Most companies aren't going 100% cloud overnight. They have existing on-premises systems. Making the cloud network talk smoothly and securely with your existing data center that's hybrid cloud, and it requires careful setup, maybe using those VPNs or direct connect links we mentioned.
Complexity there.
Can be. Vendor lock-in is something people talk about, too. Once you build heavily on one provider's specific services, it can be difficult or costly to move everything to a competitor later.
So you need a strategy, maybe multi-cloud.
Multi-cloud can be part of that strategy for some,
Yeah.
to mitigate that risk. And finally, compliance. Depending on your industry, finance, healthcare, you have regulations like GDPR, IPA, PCI DSS. You must ensure your cloud environment meets those rules for data privacy and security.
Lots to think about there. Okay, looking forward then. What's next? Where is cloud networking heading? What should we keep an eye on, say, for 2025 and beyond?
It's moving fast. A few key trends are really shaping the future. One is the synergy between 5G and edge computing.
5G and edge. Heard a lot about those.
All right, 5G brings the high bandwidth, low latency wireless connection. Edge computing pushes compute power and storage closer to where data is generated out at the edge of the network, near the users or devices. Together, they enable real-time processing for things like IoT, autonomous vehicles, augmented reality, powered by cloud networking principles extended to the edge.
Interesting. What else?
Network function virtualization, or NFV, is maturing. This is about virtualizing more network functions, routers, firewalls, load balancers, WAN accelerators, running them as software on standard hardware. It makes networks much more agile, easier to automate, quicker to deploy new services.
More software, less hardware again.
Pretty much. Service mesh is another big one, especially for organizations using microservices.
Microservices architecture.
Yeah, where applications are built as collections of small independent services. A service mesh provides a dedicated infrastructure layer to handle all the complex communication between those services, discovery, load balancing, security, observability. Makes it much more manageable. And finally, AI and machine learning are increasingly being applied to network operations. Think AI ops for networking. Using AI to automate complex tasks like traffic management, predicting potential issues, detecting anomalies that might signal an attack, even automating security responses, making the network smarter and more self-healing.
Wow, AI running the network. That sounds pretty futuristic, but I guess it's happening now.
It's definitely starting to gain traction. It promises much more efficient and resilient networks.
So wrapping this up then, it really feels like cloud networking isn't just a trend, it's pretty fundamental now. What's the core message for someone trying to get their head around all this?
I think the core message is that cloud networking is basically essential now for building modern IT systems. If you want scalability, if you want efficiency, reliability, you need to be leveraging the cloud for your network infrastructure.
Yeah.
It just offers this powerful mix. flexibility, potentially better performance, cost reduction over time, and robust security capabilities. It's enabling businesses to innovate faster.
So less of an option, more of a necessity for growth.
I'd say so, yes. For staying competitive, absolutely. And, as we do at Webline India, the key is careful planning and design to make sure you get those benefits and build a solution that really fits your specific needs. It's not just lift and shift. It requires strategy.
That's a great summary. Thank you so much for breaking all of that down for us. Really clarifies things. So, as you've heard, cloud networking is, well, it's a big deal. Lots of advantages, and it's really setting the stage for how companies will use technology going forward. Here's something to chew on. How might these trends, we talked about things like 5G and edge, maybe AI managing networks, how might those specifically change your work or your industry in the next few years? Definitely a space evolving quickly. Thanks again for tuning in to the deep dive. We hope this gave you a clearer picture of cloud networking. If you found it valuable, please do share it with colleagues or friends who might find it interesting too.